My mother turned 96.
Really?
Yeah. That's good, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah. And she's smart still. So
And she's smart still. Everything's there. Well, congratulations. What else does somebody have?
Well, good morning. Speaking about family, I just visited my family down in Cartagena, and we had a great time.
Jeff Driscoll.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations. So look, it's a new week, and as we said last week, we're almost through the first quarter, right? Which is pretty crazy as the year goes by. So I want to do something a little different today, right? When we think about our career, we oftentimes spend so much time working in our business, right? And, when you start your career in real estate, nobody gives you any kind of roadmap, right? There's no place like, hey, here's where I start, here's where I go, here's where I go next. And generally you're in, and I see Gene nodding your head, right? We're just in this cycle of, lack of clarity, which leads to confusion, which leads back to certainty, right? So when you're not clear on things, you feel overwhelmed, you feel confused. And when you get to that feeling, you know what we all do? We go back to doing what we know. And this is where the stagnation of growth comes from, right? So I want to walk you through what I would say the 4 phases of real estate are, right? And in each one of these phases, I'm going to give you a different suggestion on what to focus on. Right. So phase 1, we just got our license. You remember what it's like when you just got your license? You're like, holy shit, how do I sell a house? Right? Like, how do I make an appointment? How does the lockbox work? What do I go do? Or if you're in New York City or some of these other higher end markets, how do I show a property? Right. And then when you figure that out, you really go to the next part. It's like, all right, Aaron, you're like, I figured out how to do a deal, but now how do I get more clients? And you want to know what the number one challenge with that is? You never learned all the things you needed to learn in phase 1, working with clients, right? Think about a couple of weeks ago when we went through all those conversations of, I want a deal. I want 1% less commission. I see what you're saying with the comparable properties. And even though it's the highest market we've ever faced, I still want more, right? How do I draw boundaries? These are all things that we should learn in that initial phase of real estate, but it doesn't really happen now, does it? So what I want you guys to do is write down a skill that you want to focus on and learn that's really working with people, right? So put down a chat, a skill that you want to learn. What do we have? Write down the chat. Is it objection handling? What is it? Put it in here and let's see where people are. Focus on priorities, objection handling. Okay, so Miriam is the only one who's fighting. What does that mean? Oh, I'm going to unmute you. Mia, where are you? Where is Mia?
I'm here.
What does fighting mean?
I don't know why, but I seem to get clients that they like to fight, like the couples like to fight with each other.
Interesting.
So like one's divorced and they're selling their house, and so one texts me and says, "What do you think, my ex-husband is going to do?" And I say, he does whatever he wants. I don't have a crystal ball, and I don't know what he's going to do next. But then my worry is they will like gang up against me. So I'm very careful, but I have 2 different couples that are they fight in front of me.
All right, so I'm just kidding. You can mute yourself. I'll just share this with everybody. Number 1, understanding that you have nothing to do with any of this, right? Like if they're going to fight in front of you, that means they fight in front of everybody. It's not a personal compliment, right? Number two, when people say this stuff, you're going to say, hey, thank you for trusting me with this, but I'm a neutral party and I don't want to take part to these conversations. It's very uncomfortable and I have to speak with both of you and I have to remain objective, right? Like, and that's it, right? And if they fight with you in front of you, you're going to say, hey, while you guys have this conversation, I'm just going to excuse myself for a moment and let me know when you're finished. That's it, right? So we have some other good ones here. The initial conversation about pricing when making an offer, right? Drawing boundaries. So write down the 3 skills that you want to work on, right? 1, 2, 3. And every month, listen to me carefully. Every month, you need to focus on building 1 skill, right? You're going to want to find 3 role play partners for the skill, and you'll practice 3 times a week for a month. And then go to the next one. Don't try to do 2 things at once. It's not really an effective use of time, especially if you've never done this before. But at the end of the next 3 months, you should own those skills. Time management is not a skill, it is a discipline. So if you want to practice time management, you want to find other people that, are a slave to their cell phone, right? And then you want to set these Zoom accountability sessions where you have the camera on and mute each other and spend 30 minutes doing what you need to do without being distracted. And that's how you do those kinds of accountability sessions. So that's phase 1. So I see a whole bunch of people just jumped in here. We're talking about the 4 phases of real estate, right? Phase 1 is like, how do I do a deal, right? And then when you start figuring out how you do a deal, you get to phase 2. You're like, wow, I know I can do this and make money, right? How do I find more clients? That's the lead generation phase, right? It's like, what are the things I need to do to get more clients, right? So what are your lead generation sources? Where do they all come from? Put in the chat, where do you generally get your leads and deals from? And I'll tell you the 3 things you have to do with them. Referrals, open houses, other agents. Okay, so there are 3 things that we need to do with leads, right? And for everyone sharing their 3 things, we're gonna, at the end of this, Brooke, wait till the end of the session, we'll post where the accountability role play groups are in our community platform. And a whole bunch of people have posted in there. Go find people that want the same things you do and say, hey, I'll connect with you, right? Drop them a message, look them up on compass.com and call them, right? Be proactive about this. So there are 3 things that you need to do with all your lead sources. Number 1, you need to track and understand what percentage of your total business that source attributes to. What percentage of your total business does that attribute to? Number 2, what are your conversion percentages, right? Like how many conversations do you have or how many leads do you take out to how many do you close? If you're not tracking your conversion percentages, you never know where to improve. And if you don't know what percentage of this is your total business, you don't know where to focus. I find a lot of times people, they think that they're focusing on all these things. And in reality, 90% of our business comes from our past clients and centers of influence. But yet we're focused on all of these other things because we live in a world of shiny pennies. And number 3, what skills do you need to improve working with these people and more effectively converting them into paychecks? Right? Because bucket 1 and 2 are connected. So those are the 3 areas in phase 2. I like to call everything buckets if you can't tell. Bucket, bucket, bucket. Now let's go to phase 3. Now you're really busy. You have a whole bunch of leads. This stuff's all great. You're working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're like, I can't take this anymore. And you get to that 3rd phase, hiring leverage. How many people hit yes want to hire somebody in the next 6 to 12 months? So real estate agents are plagued with transactional thinking, meaning I'm slow right now. You need to hire somebody. No, I don't. Well, why not? I'm not really busy right now. That's exactly why you need to hire them. And then they're so busy and they have so much going on. And that's when they think of hiring somebody. You have to think about this, how toxic of a work environment that is for somebody, that the only value for an employee is when you're busy. That is a horrible business model. It's terrible, right? Could you imagine coming to Compass and there was no AEM? There was no one to tell you what all these crazy 3-letter acronyms mean. They don't tell you what the tools are. They don't tell you how to process a deal through Deal Closer, right? Because working at Compass, isn't it different than any other brokerage? 100%, right? Because they treat you like entrepreneur business owners, not like people that they have to coddle and spoon feed. Very different. Now, imagine all of these assistants you hire that have no real estate experience and what it's like for them. So I'll talk to teams about this all the time. And you know what? I'll have an agent come on and complain about the staff. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe I should go look into the staff. So then I go talk to the staff. They're like, I'm like, so what's going on? They're like, how's it going? Are you doing your work? Yeah, I'm doing my work. So do you think it's going well? I no, but I'm trying. And oh, has anyone taken the time to share with you and train you on how they want things done? No, so I just do it the way that I think they'd want it. Then you talk to the other person, man, they just can't get it right. Well, did you think about training this person? No, Chirag, how could I do that? I'm really busy. And there it is. Like this is the nonstop cycle. Because if you can't think about this in a 12-month cycle and understand, like people like, I'm paying somebody $50,000, $60,000, $80,000, $100,000. That's a lot of money. And my answer is, if you have a $60,000 a year employee, I'm like, you're paying somebody $5,000 for the next 4 weeks worth of work. The only way they can get to 60,000 is if they provide you great work for 12 consecutive months. And then at that point, you'd happily pay them. So people mix up an annual salary with what somebody's getting up front. I said, are you writing $60,000 check? They're like, no, so you're not paying $60,000. So there are 3 areas that you want to focus on when hiring an employee. And you need to plan this out in advance. Number 1, what is the purpose of the role? Right? So if I think about this, Elizabeth, right? What is the purpose of your new person's hires role? What's their purpose? Number 2, what are they there to do and accomplish, right? Like, what does this person do? Right? So I bet, Aaron, you have staff members, right? Yes? All right, so I'm going to unmute you.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. So let's talk about one of your team members. Give me any job.
Okay. Sherry is full-time admin and transactional liaison. She does everything transactional for me.
So her purpose on the team is to provide administrative and transactional support.
Correct. Yep.
And on a day-to-day basis, like what is she that like what's her day-to-day look like? She's going to do and accomplish what? Working in all the deals, following up on the transactions. What else is there?
Well, there's marketing, but we have a lot of support at Compass to help with the marketing. So that's not a strong suit for her, but it is a day-to-day task that she does. And it's probably 30%.
Would you say she's clear on what she needs to do and accomplish each day?
Not necessarily. I think I could do a lot better at delegating and providing a clear objective for the week, for the month.
All right. So look, I'm going to work through this with you live, right?
Okay.
So we thank Aaron for doing this, right? Because in the end, we need to create clarity for people on our team, right? So just write this down. The purpose of her role is to provide administrative, transactional, and marketing support, right? That is the 3 core. There's a triangle. That's the purpose on her team. right? Each day, what do you do and accomplish? Create a word bank of things that she needs to own and responsible for. So people at least have an idea of what they're supposed to do, right? Like, unless you run your company like a startup where it's just a rolling ball, and you know what, like you're going to have like 5 different hats, right? And then you have to be clear, because there's only a certain type of person you could hire that handles that type of work. The third one is, how do you measure success, right? If you're cold calling somebody, what do you measure it on? The time, the amount of time that you make the calls, the amount of conversations that you have, how many appointments you set, and out of those appointments you set, how many of those turn into money, right? Those are the 4 key metrics if you're hiring an ISA. So in terms of measuring her success, she needs to understand how you measure success. Measure success should just be like, these transactions going, clients not complaining, whatever it is, right? And that's where they come up with OKR, KPI, and all those other fun sayings. So that's how we look at it on our side as agents, right? Now, like Brooke is an employee. So if you looked at it on Brooke's side, she would say, my purpose here is to do blank. Each day I'm responsible to do and accomplish blank. That's that word bank of stuff. And when I do blank and blank, I know I'm successful, right? They need to know what they're doing to be successful, what success looks like. Because if they don't know what success looks like, you're just going to be running around and you're just going to be disappointed all the time. And when hiring good admins, listen to me all very carefully. Your admin should become your boss, right? Like they should be your point of accountability, right? Like they should tell you where to go, what to do, and all the other stuff. That is a very healthy place for a CEO to be, right? If you find the right people that care about your business as much as you do, to make sure that you're prioritizing things in the right place, that's very important. So does that provide everyone like a little bit of clarity of how to think through hiring somebody?
That's really good. Yeah.
And you should all do this in advance of hiring somebody. So like, you might not have the most baked out onboarding plan in the world, but at least a person has like a navigation, like word bank style thing to look through. Make sense? So now, Aaron, you can go back, right? Where do you start is, what is the purpose of the role, David? Like, what do you even want to hire somebody to do? Well, I want to do administrative work. Are they really just doing administrative work? Nah, it's a little bit of marketing as well. Right? So that's the way that you want to think about it and focus it. So that's the those are the 3 steps that you could do. Everything is different, Amy, right? An example. The best way would be is just create something, right? Make it up, because this is customized to your business. And so does anyone, here's a good example. Does anyone want to work on creating this for an employee, right? Or their next hire? If yes, you should reach out to Amy. If 4 of you do it, you should hop on a group call and all do it together. Right? So I know she's not the only one that thinks about this. So if anyone else wants this, so Amy and George are perfect. The 2 of you should connect and do this together. Now, once you create leverage in your business, you can get to the 4th phase of real estate, and that's creating scalable systems. That means your system is set up where it's profitable in what you do. The steps of doing it are repeatable. The outcome is predictable, and then you can scale it through other people, right? So you get to this point, Aaron, and your business model is so concrete. You're like, okay, I know if I add another team member on, I can focus. I know that the onboarding is set up. I know our systems are dialed in. I know how many leads I have to give this person, if that's what I'm giving them. And I know that this could all be administered through other people. Scalable systems. And those are the 4 phases of real estate, right? So in phase 1, we want to go and look at what are our 3 skills that we need to improve. Go on our accountability platform, find somebody else, and commit to role playing 3 times a week to learn that 1 skill, right? The second part of this is the lead generation part, right? It's the part where you look at your leads, what percentage of your total business comes from there, what is your conversion rate, and what skills do you need to really maximize what you're doing. The third part is creating leverage, right? When it comes down to creating leverage, you need to understand what's the purpose of a role, what that role is there to do and accomplish. And then the third part is how do you measure their success? So you can communicate it clearly. The fourth part, scalable systems, right? Like your brand in real estate is the way that someone experiences you, right? So ultimately, how good are you at documenting that down where you could share it with another party? And that is soup to nuts, the gist of the 4 phases of real estate. So a couple other things. So as you guys are doing this, number one, I encourage you to spend more time together, right? Really go in the group, really go in the accountability thing, and start writing people that you don't know. Let's see. Can you send the guys? Stephen Halprin, who did that session on marketing, that's who the
Thank
agent.
you. I
You're
couldn't
welcome.
think of his first name.
No problem. So the first thing is you have to do this with other people. You know, like Robert says, nobody succeeds alone. It's a lonely business, but if you get smart and you start leveraging each other, right? Number 2 is build community. I know from our Accelerate event in New York, I know like some of the people who've been here for a while, like Luciana, she's met God knows how many other people that she's made friends with in New York and all other parts of the country. And whether it's retreats or our retreats, like these people get together in person, right? Like, and it's because they've worked together and now they've socialized together, right? It's you've built the relationship, you've nurtured the relationship, you grow the relationship. Any of you guys here joining us in Boston in May? A couple people. So I highly encourage you all to come and connect with other people. You know, I'll share with you guys here, and you'll be the first people to hear about this. You know, we started thinking about the event, then we made it a one-day event. And then we're like, well, everyone's like, well, we want something for the second day. And, you know, there's that saying that says, teach a man to fish and he says, give a man a fish, he could eat a meal. Teach a man to fish, he could eat for a lifetime. So I said, you know what, like, let's be different. Let's be different and teach people how to fish, right? People are always asking, like, how do I build a referral network? So the whole second day is going to be about building a referral network, but it's going to be a little different. We're going to put it on you guys to do this, and we're going to facilitate it, right? We'll have a set of Zooms leading up to the meeting where you can meet people. Within our platform, there'll be a place for you to collaborate, connect with other people, and we're going to teach you. You're going to have to book your own venue, find your own lunch place, find your own dinner place, find your own coffee place. But I want to teach you how to do this. So when you go to the next retreat, you have a packed calendar full of meeting people. And this is how relationships turn into actual referrals, is when you really get to know people. Because like if you're coming to Boston, right, you should have meetings, you should have a dinner set up that Monday night. That Tuesday will probably have some form of an after party, but you should have a dinner set up that night. And then the following day, I would be setting up a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner with somebody as well as a group, right? Some people did it in big groups of 8 to 12 last time. Other people did it in smaller groups. And this is your opportunity to be a leader, right? Start bringing people together. So start thinking about whether you come to our event or not, you should start doing this now, right? Find, if you're committed to being here every day and learning this stuff, the easiest thing to do is grow with other people here. It's the challenges and adversity that you go through together that turn relationships into friendships, right? Like, I don't know anyone in Minneapolis or like Minnesota. I would think about Aaron, right? He comes here all the time. You know, he has a great business. He participates. He has his camera on every time. I could tell that he has integrity, humility. I would send him a referral, but that's because he's here all the time and I know him. How many people show up here and don't know any people in the groups that they're in? How many people don't know how to set up a group? How many people show up somewhere like, wow, I wish I had some networking stuff. Look, there's hundreds of agents just in our community that you can network with. So I encourage you to sign up, come to the event. I encourage you to meet other people here. Yeah, Mia, the way we don't give out entire email lists because then everyone would be spamming each other. You can go on our community platform and post over there, and that's the place you meet everyone. So Brooke is going to walk you all through where the accountability group is. So I encourage you to go in, Brooke. It's the role play group that they really want, right? So walk them through the role play group and show from like the 10 by 10 where all these people posted, and that where they can also go in and connect with people. So I love you guys. I will see you guys all soon. Brooke will take over and demo this. Don't leave. Make sure you connect with people. Hopefully I can meet all of you in Boston. And tomorrow we're going to get into some fun marketing and branding stuff. And next month, we're going to go through everything that you could humanly imagine about pitching Compass, delivering the perfect pitch, listing presentations, and all that other good stuff. So I'll talk to you guys all soon. Brooke?
All right, everyone. Let's see. If you have not yet joined our platform, Alexa can put the link in the chat box. Just for time's sake here, once you do log in, I'm just going to walk you through quickly. You're going to land here on our dashboard. The very first thing, and to Mia's point, would be to update your profile. So you click on my profile and you're going to go to edit. So the